All right, here we go. So you should, when you log into Triton Connect, you'll see this home screen. As you'll see at the top, I'm impersonating a student named Louis Triton. I'm doing this so that you all aren't like, Michaela, we can't see that setting because I am an admin in the portal. And so sometimes there's things that are showing up on my screen that you all don't have access to, and I didn't want to confuse you all. So today I'm Louis Triton, and I'm going to log into the Triton Connect, and I'm on the home page. And what I'm going to want to do renewal of my student group is I'm going to go to the group on the top tab. You'll click groups, and then you're going to pick your group that you're an officer in. So Louis is an officer in Louis Hangout. So we're going to go there, and boom, now you see at the top of the screen, there's this blue bar. It says, please click on the button below to start your group re-registration. And you can click that button right there. Um, that is what you're going to want to click. And that is also what was missing from your groups portal until about 10 minutes ago. So you're going to want to click group re-registration. Once you click that, it's going to bring you to a form that you need to fill out. As you'll see, this is a read-only box. So Louis Hangout is the name of the student organization. Some of you may have maybe a part of student organizations that the name is, maybe there's a misspelling. Maybe something's not capitalized that should be capitalized. Maybe something's in the wrong tense. So like, for instance, Philosophers Forum. They, in their name originally, when we had added it into the portal, it said philosopher, comma, S forum. And that should have been philosophers, plural, comma, because it's multiple philosophers and it's their forum. Whereas this one, Louis is one individual person, so it's Louis, comma, S Hangout. If there's a problem with your group name, you'll see that's a read-only feature. You will need to email me and let me know so I can change it for you on the back end. Again, you can always email studentorganizations@umsl.edu for questions like that. So you'll make sure your group name is right. If it's not, you'll email studentorganizations@umsl.edu to make sure that you request the update. Then it's going to ask you to upload a logo. And so you'll click upload, and this is important because when it comes to SABC funding and when it comes to people knowing who your student group is, you want to make sure that there's a photo for them to see. So you'll see for Louis' Hangout logo, we're just going to upload this photo of him on Valentine's Day with some of our lovely staff members to just really represent Louis' Hangout and what he does. So we're going to save. We can crop it as you saw. You'll upload it there. It will show there. And then you'll see some of these boxes aren't required. So membership benefits, you can add them if you'd like. They're not required. Mission, that is required. So what is the mission of your student organization? I'll go ahead and give you a tip. A lot of your student org constitutions, which you'll see in a little bit, you do need a copy of. The very beginning of your constitution is kind of going to state the mission of what your organization does. So you're going to want to make sure that you copy and paste that either from your constitution or that you sit down with your executive board and figure out what you would like your mission to say on Triton Connect. For purposes of this training, I'm just going to go ahead and type mission in the mission box. If there's goals of your organization, very specific goals that you have, feel free to put them there. Like I know, for instance, when Indian Student Association became a new student group, one of their main goals was to bring together Indian students on campus. They could put in the goals box, bringing together Indian students on the University of Missouri St. Louis's campus. That's a perfect goal. That really tells people kind of why Indian Student Association exists, what benefits they could have from the student organization, things like that. And it just really kind of lets people know what y'all are about. So you can go ahead and add goals, but obviously it's not required. And then the Constitution, you will need to upload your Constitution. If you do not have a copy of your student organization's Constitution, that is okay. Those should be getting updated every year. I know we've kind of been a little lackluster when it comes to keeping documents updated recently in past years. But that is something that does need to be updated frequently. So if you do not even have a copy of it, you're going to want to go ahead and email studentorganizations@umsl.edu and let them know what organization you are requesting the Constitution for. And we will look in our past documents and our past folders from renewals past, and we will get that document to you. In your student constitution, when it comes to updating it, there should be an outlined process of how to update the Constitution. Who should work on it, who has to approve it, things like that. All of those things should be outlined in your Constitution. If they are not, I think they shouldn't be missing, but if they are, there's no rules in there for how to do it. you can feel free to email student organizations at umsl.edu and we can give you some tips. Another thing is I will be hosting some constitution writing workshops. I will share the information for those at the end. Yes, Rachel, I will share that email in the chat. I just keep rolling it off the tongue and y'all are probably like, girl, what are you saying? Let me make sure I spelled it right. Student organizations, there we go. It is in the chat. Thank you for that, Rachel. So yes, you can request your constitution from student organizations at umsl.edu, the email we just put in the chat. You can also request some pointers on how to move forward with your constitution updates if that isn't outlined in your constitution. And then we will also be hosting constitution writing workshops during March and April, if I'm remembering the dates correctly, before this renewal is due, so that you all have the opportunity if you need to ask questions and things like that. I guess that's a good point that I should have also brought up. Renewal opened officially today. As I said, we were having some hiccups. And it closes on April 28th. So that's the last Sunday in April. So you guys have 2 months about to figure out the renewal process, figure out your constitution if you need to update it, do officer elections, things like that. So you have some time. This is just, I wanted to make sure for those that don't change officers for the fall, have their documents ready to go, that we walked through how to do this right away. Also because, excuse me, by setting the stage of what is required of you in this document that you have to fill out for renewal, it's helpful because it kind of gives you all a checklist moving forward in the next 2 months of what you need to accomplish and how you need to get that done before that April 28th deadline, just so you're not at the last minute frantically emailing student organizations at umsl.edu. And then it's the last week in April and it's also Mirth Week, which is a really fun and busy week for the Office of Student Involvement. So maybe Michaela doesn't quite get to the email in time, and then you're like, well, now my renewal is late and now there's some penalties on my organization, things like that. We don't want that to happen. So I wanted you all to have a full 2 months to figure out renewal, figure out your constitution, figure out your officers, all of those fun things. Even if you don't normally switch officer positions for the fall, make sure you check in with your exec board. Is someone graduating? Is someone transferring? Is someone not returning for some reason or another? Make sure you're having those open conversations because that is something that's very important when it comes to the renewal process. You don't want to be kind of left high and dry in July when you're trying to plan August and the person's just not responding. Come to find out when you get back on campus, they don't even go here anymore. So make sure you're having open conversations with your exec board as well. Okay. After that very long tangent, we are now on the officers section. So you're going to want to make sure that you select whoever your president is right here. So it already is going to auto-populate whoever is put in the position. But if it's changing, you can go ahead and type a different name and it will give you the option to select them. So Louis is the president of Louis Hangout. Their treasurer is our wonderful director in the Office of Student Involvement, Mindy Dilly. If you can't tell, Louis Hangout is a fake organization that I use when I'm doing examples like this. Just I want you all to be like, what's going on in Louis Hangout and what am I missing out on? Nothing. It's just a ghost organization for Michaela to use for examples such as this. We have myself as a faculty staff advisor listed here. You're going to make sure all these are up to date like we talked about. Make sure everyone's returning for the fall. Make sure everyone's willing to do the commitment that it takes to be the president, treasurer, or advisor of your organization. And make sure that that is all squared away before April 28th. Then down here, you're going to have to put in your 7 other members that you have. It doesn't matter what 7 you put here if you have more than 10 members. 10 is just the minimum number of officer or members you can have in your student organization. So with the 3 required officers, we needed 7 members on the list. So random students in the Zoom call are going to get added to this group just for the purposes of the example. So if I add you in here, don't be like, girl, what are you doing? It's just for the example. It'll be okay, I promise. Blaine is on here, so he's going to get added as a member. Eleanor, we're going to add you as a member. Look at so many Eleanors. All right, who else is on here? Alucci, we've been emailing back and forth this morning. Hello. Skylar, hey girl. Skylar's not trying to load today. What the heck? All right, let's see if Saba will work. Look at Try and Connect doing me dirty. All right, here we go. Perfect. Look at that photo in there. We'd love to see it. All right. Okay, now we have 7 members added. We have our 3 required officers, so we're gonna go ahead and click next. And Triton Connect's gonna take a minute. All right, now it's gonna take you to this page, and it's very simple questions that it's gonna ask you. So you're gonna say, my name is, who's filling this out? Michaela just wants to know who to check in with if there's a question. But this is Michaela filling this out. Well, I guess technically I'm Louis Triton right now, right? So let's do Louis. And Louis is the president, so you're gonna want to make sure you select president. And of the student group, now we gotta find Louis' hangout in this list of student groups. There we go. So once you click next, it's just gonna take you to this very simple 3-question thing where you identify who you are that's filling this out, what your officer position is, and what student group you're renewing. Obviously, on the last page, it asked who the president was, it asked all of those things, it asked the name of your student organization. We have to have a form connected to the renewal, but the renewal form that Triton Connect provides us with gives us all the information we need. So I figured, you know what, we'll just in this form put my name is, I'm the president or treasurer or other officer of this student group, and we'll have you select it. The biggest thing, which some of you may have learned from submitting events or failing to submit events that you thought you submitted, this says draft at the top. It says draft because I have not clicked this wonderful blue submit button down here. This blue submit button is the holy grail of all forms on Triton Connect. So you clicked next on the last page. You're going to fill out this form right here, say who you are, what officer position you are, and what group you're submitting it for. And then you're going to make sure you click submit. Once it reloads, it's going to say you've successfully completed the form, and you can go ahead and go back to the home page. What that is going to do is it's now going to trigger an email to be sent to anyone that's listed as an officer in your organization to complete an officer agreement form. And essentially what that officer agreement form does is that it basically it says like, here's what is required of an officer on a student organization on UMSL's campus. One of those things being that we do grade checks for the president and treasurer every semester of organizations just to kind of see how our student org officers are doing. One of the things that the officer agreement will ask is for students to agree to having their grades checked at the end of each semester. 1 second, and I'm going to pull up what the email will look like that the officers will receive, just so you all can kind of see what that looks like. Okay, it's loaded. Let me drag it to the screen. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second so I can share the other screen of the email. All right. So this is what the email will look like that your officers will get. So remember, I was listed as the faculty staff advisor in Louis' Hangout. So I got this email. It says, hi, Michaela, please answer the form to accept your officer position or deny your officer position for Louis' Hangout by answering the form below. And then it says, hello, student group leader. You've been identified as an officer of a student group on UMSL's campus. In order to ensure the student group can complete the annual renewal process, follow the link below and complete the requested information. Thank you, the campus groups team, aka Michaela and the Office of Student Involvement. So you're going to want to click that answer form or deny. Then again, I'm going to have to stop sharing my screen so I can log into Triton Connect and show you what it takes you to. All right, share screen, here we go. All right, so it takes me back to Triton Connect. Oh, look, Michaela's messing up. The form is now closed. I'll have to update that for you all. So look at that. These people have already approved that they're a member. So sick. All right. So what you're going to do is there's either this deny button that's red and big, but what you want to click is student group officer agreement. Once you click into that, the form is closed. I think it's going to show me it anyways because I'm an admin. Okay, it did. So we can go through it and then I'll open it when I leave this Wise Up Wednesday. I apologize for that. So what officer position are you serving in? Remember, I was the faculty staff advisor. We're going to go ahead and click next. It's going to ask what department I'm employed in, Office of Student Involvement. And then, is it in my job description or expected of me to advise a student group? It is not. Louis Hangout is just a fun thing I like to advise. I'm gonna go ahead and click next. And then for the advisors, it's gonna ask all of these fun questions. But to show you all as students what you're going to have to answer as officers, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna click that I'm the treasurer of the organization. So next, and then it's gonna ask your student ID number. This helps for the grade check. It asks your anticipated graduation month and year. This helps us know, okay, they said they're gonna graduate in December. So clearly this organization's probably gonna have a new president or treasurer in December because that person's graduating. This isn't set in stone. You can pick whatever day you anticipate you're gonna graduate on the day you fill this out. That's okay. And then here it's going to say, as an officer of the student group, I understand that my contact information will be included in the RSO directory and may be shared as needed. You're going to sign your name and it's going to type it in a cool little font like that because it's your signature. Then you're going to say, as an officer for the student group, I understand I'm committing to upholding the collected rules and regulation of the University of Missouri as they pertain to the student group. You're going to go ahead and type your name. As an officer for the student group, I understand that I'm committing to upholding UMSL's anti-hazing policy required of each organization, student group. Oh my gosh, I cannot even read. Each recognized student group, by signing below, I agree that it's my responsibility to be aware of and follow the student standard of conduct and the standard of conduct for student organizations, including but not limited to, and then it has these campus rules and regulations. Listed here that you can look up if you would like. And then it has them stated there as well for you to read through. Again, you're going to type your name. All right. And then next it's going to say, by signing below, I authorize the University of Missouri St. Louis Office of Student Involvement to view and release information concerning my academic progress and records, including information protected by the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, aka FERPA. This may occur upon official and appropriate request by the institution for necessary UMSL-related reporting. Such purposes may include semesterly grade checks, officer reviews, or eligibility verification. So essentially what this means is the Office of Student Involvement at the end of each semester likes to say, our student group leaders had a GPA of this for the semester and a cumulative GPA of this. And how does that compare to UMSL students as a whole and their GPA for the semester and their GPA cumulatively? Never will anyone be like, hey, Michaela, what's Blaine's GPA? And I'll be like, well, you know what? Blaine is an officer, so he signed away his right for his GPA to be shared with anyone. That's not what this means. This is just for, it'll be reported as a whole group. I will never say this specific person's GPA is this. It's just student org leaders as a whole. Their semester GPA was this, and their cumulative GPA is this. And this is how it compares to all of UMSL students' GPAs, cumulatively and semesterly. So you will type your name here to agree to the grade release. I cannot type my name for anything today. And then again, you're going to want to make sure you click submit. Oh, I didn't fill this out. And I guess I'm just going to say May 2024 because it's popping up. All right. Now it's glitching and not letting me submit it. 1 second. Make sure you fill out all the dots or all the boxes, because if you forget one, then it does this little glitch thing. Anyways, you would have clicked submit here. And then once you click submit, it will again take you to that page that it showed us when we submitted the last form. And it will just say return to the home screen. Thank you for submitting your form. So that is what the officer agreement looks like. You had a little taste of what the faculty staff advisor thing looks like. It is important that your faculty staff advisor does this as well. I know some of our faculty staff advisors are fairly removed from our organization processes, and that's okay. But we do need to make sure that they're kind of reminded each year after year, this is the commitment they signed up for. And this is what that commitment means to the Office of Student Involvement. And that is essentially what that form asks of your faculty staff advisor. So make sure that when they get that when you fill it out, you maybe send them a note like, hey, you're going to get an email from campus groups. It's going to be yellow. It's going to look as the one I showed you all on the screen. You can even forward them the one that you get and say, hey, you got an email like this. Make sure you click the button and then fill out the form, and maybe even walk them through that. As you all know, sometimes there's little buttons that we miss when we're looking at stuff on Triton Connect. So think about your advisors who may have never logged into Triton Connect. They're going to be a little bit confused maybe. And so as a student group leader, it's kind of your responsibility once you fill this out to make sure your advisor is aware that they have something to do as well. So essentially that is how you renew your student organization. It's fairly simple. It's just the prep work that actually takes some time, which is that making sure the Constitution is up to date and identifying who your officers are going to be for the fall, at least for the fall, if not the fall and spring semester of next academic year. All right, I'm going to stop recording as soon as I remember how to do that. Perfect.